Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Players Own YouTube channel. And match day 7 for the Champions League is coming up in the next few hours. So I am back once again for the Champions League prediction video. I think I missed the last game week. Sorry about that. I think I was sick during that week, but we're back for it once again. A lot of exciting games. We've got teams like Real Madrid, PSG, Man City, all teetering on whether they're going to be making the next round, the next phase of the Champions League. So massive games for those clubs. Can Liverpool remain with the perfect record in the Champions League? How do Barcelona and Brest fare as they try to push up towards the top of the Champions League table? A lot of exciting games to come. A lot of great action to come this week for the midweek action. And I absolutely cannot wait to dive into all these games here. With that being said, guys, let's get straight now into our predictions. Our first game takes us to Bergamo as Atalanta take on Sturm Graz in the Champions League here. Atalanta, last time out, a difficult 3-2 loss versus Real Madrid at home last time. Disappointing for the side, but they'll look to bounce back here. They sit 13th so far this season in the Champions League, so nice and comfortably in that qualification zone for the next stage. They'll want to push up though and try and potentially get that top 8 spot to avoid that knockout stage that's going to come following the league phase. And a good chance here versus a weaker Sturm Graz side. However, they've not won in the last 5 games aside, so need to look to improve. There's been some tough losses, tough draws in those games there as well. But this is a great chance to get your season back on track if you're Gasperini and Atalanta. For me, it's pretty simple. The front 3 is your danger. Lookman, De Ketelaere, Retegui, all been in fantastic form, all finding the back of the net at a great rate. It's if they can find it here in this game, get this game won nice and early and put Sturm Graz away. Looking at Sturm Graz, a 3-2 loss away at Lille last time out. Probably one of their most impressive performances so far in the Champions League this season. They only have the 1 win and the 5 losses, so they sit in 29th and no real chance of getting out of that spot there. But it's a chance to make some history here away from home. For me, it's the back four. Can they keep it tight? Can they prevent spaces that front they want to run into? And can they prevent midfielders with those late runs to the box like Ederson alongside Martin de Roon as well? So for them, it's about battling for pride here in this game. Do I see them getting a result? No, I don't. I've got Atalanta winning this one quite convincingly, 4-1. I think we're looking at a Lookman hat-trick in this one here. We move to the Principality for our next game as Monaco host Aston Villa. Looking at Monaco, they come off the back of that 3-0 loss last time out in the Champions League to Arsenal. They want to bounce back. They're sitting in 16th spot, and it's a good chance if they can get a result here to fully, solidify themselves to qualifying into the next stage there. For me, the last few games have been quite disappointing. No clean sheet in their last 6 games, not one in their last 4 games. So looking to be a little bit more solid. I think that's what you got to focus on in this game here, defensively, keeping Aston Villa at arm's length. So as such, like the Tilo Kerr, Salisu at the back, keeping nice and compact, denying space for Ollie Watkins to operate into. That would be a big key for them this one here. Looking at Aston Villa, a famous win 3-2 on the road versus Leipzig last time out. They're sitting 5th with only 1 loss in the Champions League this season. They have a run of games here, 5 games without a loss in all competition, doing fantastically well all around the park, and they look to get another big result here. For me, it's the wide players, Leon Bailey and Ramsey on the flanks. These type of players, if they can keep their width and keep the danger, they can spread and stretch the Monaco defence, and that's when the likes of Morgan Rogers and Ollie Watkins can flourish. So look to those wide players to be very, very important in this game here. Do I see Monaco winning at home? I don't. I've got Aston Villa winning this game just for me. 2-1 away from home. They get the result and they secure that top 8 spot. Move to Spain for one of the big games from this match week. It is Atletico Madrid and Bayer Leverkusen. Atletico beat Slovan Bratislava 3-1 last time out. They sit 11th, however, with only 3 wins in the Champions League. They all came in a row, though, however, and they've just recently ended a run of 14 games in a row with a victory, with a loss on the weekend to Elche. So yeah, it's been a great run of form for the side, great performances. They're competing for La Liga, but they want to make sure they get a good result in the Champions League here. They don't want to slip towards that bottom half of the 24, because that's when it gets quite nerve-wracking going into the last match day. For me, it's the midfield area. De Paul, Simeone, these energizers, especially Simeone, who can break away, use his pace and his strength, and then De Paul midfield, the aggressor, the player to break the game up and get yourself in control of possession. Those 2 players, for me, are part of that midfield forward. They're going to be so important to try and counteract what Bayer Leverkusen do. Looking at Leverkusen, they were fantastic in the 1-0 win versus Inter Milan last time out. They sit fourth in the Champions League. They've won 12 matches in a row, unbeaten in the last 13 games. It is back to their best where they were last season. Xabi Alonso's men look like they're functioning once more at that telepathic level, consistently attacking football, much more solid defensively, not conceding weak goals, and that's a bad sign for all of Europe to be worried about this dangerous in-form side. For me, in this game here, against that low block which Atletico will implement, Patrick Schick and Florian Wirtz will be the players. Can they break down this low block? Do they have the incisiveness, the skill, and the ability to break down this back line? If anyone can do it in world football right now, those two can. So look to those two to be the key players here in this game for me. Looking at the result, it's going to be a tough one. It's going to be a scrappy old game, but I think Leverkusen get over the line in the end. I'm going with a 2-0 Leverkusen win here away at Atletico Madrid. We're in Portugal for our next game as Benfica take on FC Barcelona. Benfica obviously getting that 0-0 draw last time out versus Bologna at home in the Champions League. They want a bit of a better result here. They sit 15th currently in the Champions League. They've scored 11 goals in the last 4 games, so in some decent touch, and they want to consolidate that spot amongst the qualified bunch here in the Champions League. For me, it's going to be a hard game, an interesting game for them to match up against a very hard team to match up against in Barcelona, a team that moves the ball so well. So I look at that midfield area, Cocu, Luis, Oresnes as well in the middle of the park. Can you just offset what Gavi, Pedri will like to do, which is drive the ball into areas, put pressure on Marc Casado, the young holding midfielder? If you can do that and just disrupt that Barca control in the middle of the park, it'll go a long way to making this a bit of a more competitive game, because Barcelona, they're so well built on that midfield area and that midfield three in there for me. Looking at Barca, they beat Dortmund away from home. Not many teams have done that this year. 3-2 last time at the Champions League. They're sitting quite pretty at the moment. Only one loss in second place in the Champions League. And with no loss in their last 5 games in all competitions. So they're carrying in great form to this game here. We know how good that attacking front line can be. But in this one here, you don't want to get caught out in the break, similar to the game on the weekend versus, I believe, Getafe. It's about the likes of Kubasi, Ronaldo Araujo, Alex Balde. Can you be tight? Can you not get counter-attacked? Can you keep a clean sheet? If you can keep a clean sheet, Barcelona definitely win this game of football. If not, it's a bit of a coin flip, because Benfica, we know, can turn up on the night. With that being said, I do back Barcelona, and they carry over their great form for me. They win this game 4-0 here in Portugal and make a massive statement for the Champions League. We're back to Italy as Bologna take on Borussia Dortmund in what is going to be a very, very feisty old affair. Looking at Bologna, a 0-0 draw last time out away at Benfica, a positive result for the club. But since that point in time, it's been a massive turnaround for me. Yes, they sit in 33rd place on 2 points, and they're not likely to get out of this stage of the Champions League. But 11 goals in the last 5 games. Greater play, some superb performances, tough draws late on versus Roma, much improved in the weekend with another win against Monza. They're one of the more informed sides in Europe right now, and I think for me the key player has to be Odegaard in the number 10 role. Has been sensational in recent weeks, is the key to everything going forward for this Bologna side. And yes, you've got talent like Orsolini up there as well that can contribute, but Odegaard has been the guy. So look to him to try and take over this game versus a weaker Borussia Dortmund side who went down narrowly 3-2 to Barcelona at home last time out. Champions League's not been too bad. They have been amongst that top group, but it's in the league and in domestic form, especially away from home, where you have to worry about this Borussia Dortmund side. Only 1 win away so far this season in the Bundesliga. They've got 2 wins away on the road in the Champions League, but they're coming off a run of 3 losses in a row. And I feel like for me, they want to try and get a result here, the middle of the park. I'm looking at likes of Pascal Gross and Metcher in the middle of the park. Got to be more consistent. Got to be at the races, a little bit more aggressive into tackles, and keep Borussia Dortmund balanced, because they're covering off that back 4, back 3 at times, and they haven't been in great touch, especially Metcher. He's a big player. Throw your weight around, offset that Bologna control of the middle of the park, and get your side moving forward. If those two are playing well, Borussia Dortmund will be much improved. But if that middle of the park is getting bypassed too easily, Bologna can easily walk to a result in this one here. With that being said, both teams then cancel each other out in this one. It's going to be one of the more entertaining games. Going with a 2-2 draw here between Bologna and Borussia Dortmund. Move to Belgium for our next game as Club Brugge host Juventus. Obviously, Brugge coming off that 2-1 win versus Sporting last time out. They sit in 19th place with 3 Champions League games in a row without a loss, so much more improved in recent times here. The domestic form has been fantastic. They've gone on a run with 18 games without a loss, so they come to this game as a very strong side, very, very confident. For me, the midfield area is going to be a key piece to this game here. It's going to be a back and forth game. Both sides can have the ability to go and score a goal. Both sides are vulnerable enough defensively to go and score on. So I feel like in the middle of the park, Vanaken, a crucial piece to this side here. A very talented player, can drive the ball forward, capable on the ball, and can break lines with his passing array and his smarts on the football. So look to him to be the key player for Brugge in this one here. Juventus beat Man City 2-0 last time out in the Champions League. They only have 1 win in the last 5 games. They sit 14th, however, in the Champions League and have been known for being unbeaten in Serie A, but not many wins in there as well. So look to this side to be a team that's on the up, needing to improve. Thiago Motta has implemented a few different changes in recent weeks, and I feel like these changes, like Yildiz and Mbangula on the flanks, the flair players, the youthful players, are going to be your players that can win this game for you, for Juventus. I think their spark, their direct running, and their ability to find the back of the net, create chances and score chances for themselves is going to be the difference in this one here. I've got a Juventus win, but just 2-1 here away from home. They consolidate their top few spots in the Champions League. Red Star and PSV is the next game here. Red Star coming off that 2-1 loss to Milan in their previous Champions League game. One of the more impressive performances we've seen from the Red Star side. They do sit 31st in the Champions League, only 1 win in the campaign. So they're not the most informed side. They're not the most competitive side in this competition. And for me, it's going to be that back four. Need to be nice and compact, prevent PSV spaces to run into, prevent PSV the ability to play quickly. PSV as a side, when they play quickly, when they one-touch football and the speed of play in the final thirds quicker, they look at their best. So if Glazer in goal can be in top form, if their back four can be nice and compact, that'll go a long way for them to being competitive in this one here versus PSV, who lost 1-0 last time out to Brest. They do sit 23rd, so on that teetering spot between dropping out or staying in the competition. 2 wins, a draw, 2 draws and 2 losses in the Champions League campaign so far. So been a real hit or miss type bunch. They come off a 3-1 loss as well in the league last time out. So they're wanting to bounce back. It's a good chance here versus a weaker side. But without the likes of Tillman in the side, I'm looking to Till and Lang in the final third there. Alongside Bakayoko as well, to be those players, to keep the width, to keep on the front foot, keep peppering this Red Star side, and eventually have your quality shine through in the end to get the result. I think it's going to be a long old scrap for PSV. They will get over the line in the end though. I've got a 3-1 scoreline here, but patience will be the key for the Dutch side in this one. Liverpool host Lille in our next game here, which is another very, very entertaining game. Liverpool beat Girona 1-0 last time at the Champions League. They have been perfect in the Champions League throughout the season. 6 games, 6 wins. But they've been a little bit hit and miss, though, in domestic competitions. They did get the late 2-0 winner through Darwin Núñez in the league versus Brentford on the weekend. But it's shown how the side's dropped off a little bit. And I feel like in this game here, you look to that front line to re-establish himself. Gakpo, Diaz, and Mohamed Salah, they will likely start. Got to be at it from minute 1. Get at this side, this little side, put them under pressure, get the goals early, and wrap this game up before half-time. Looking at Lille, 3-2 win versus Sturm Graz last time out. They are unbeaten in 21 games, currently in the top 8 spots in the Champions League. So all things are going very, very well for the side. But this could be where the first hiccup comes for me. A very, very dangerous Liverpool side, a very attacking, informed Liverpool side. I look into the likes of Ismaili, Munier, fullback, got to be touch tight to the likes of Mohamed Salah as well as Cody Gakpo as well, because when these players get space and time to shoot and set each other up, that's when Liverpool look at their best. So those 2 fullbacks have to be in tip-top form here if Lille want a chance. With that being said, I don't give Lille much of a chance. I've got Liverpool winning this game 3-1. They haven't been too tight defensively, so I can see Lille getting a goal, but Liverpool going forward just too dangerous at this current point in time. Slovan Bratislava and VfB Stuttgart are our next game here. Slovan lost 3-1 away at Atletico last time out. They're a team that's sitting right towards the bottom, 35th place in the Champions League, and haven't played a competitive game since the 15th of December. So a long time between recent games. They're going to be a little bit rusty. And I think Takak and goal, Wimmer and Cashew at centre-half are going to be your key players. I can't see them really laying a glove on the Stuttgart side. So those defenders and the goalkeeper are going to be at their best to keep them in this game here. Looking at Stuttgart, a convincing 5-1 win versus Young Boys last time out. They've won 3 games in a row. They sit 26th in the Champions League, so super close to making that next stage of the competition. And it's a good chance here to improve their goal difference against a very, very weak side. We saw on the weekend they scored a lot of goals as well. 4 goals scored in the weekend. They look to continue that here. And they look to the likes of Leverkusen and Enzo Mio in behind the striker, Demirovic, to be the dangerous players. They've been fantastic in the Champions League so far, especially Enzo Mio. And I think, once again, these guys will be the players, the key stars to break apart the Slovan Bratislava backline and get Stuttgart on the front foot. I think Stuttgart cruise this game here for me. I've gone with a 3-0 result. It could be more in this one. Slovan Bratislava just aren't good enough for this competition. We move back to Germany as Leipzig hosts Sporting Lisbon. Leipzig beaten 3-2 at home last time out by Aston Villa. They still remain without a win, on 0 points in 34th place. And in the league have gone 2 wins, 1 draw and 2 losses in the last 5 games. Just showing the, up and down form of the side, the way they throw away results. They were up quite heavy in the weekend and still ended up drawing that game of football as well. They're so inconsistent. No clean sheet in the last 6 games. So they're a very vulnerable side at this current point in time. I feel like, though, in this game, with that clean sheet problem and the ability they're conceding so many goals, I just look to the attacking side of things. Nusa, Xavi Simons, one of the 2 brightest sparks in the side, probably the 2 best players at this current point in time. Look to those who really take a stronger hold of this game versus the Sporting Lisbon side. If they can get on top, if they can create chances early on and get a few goals on the board early in the first half for Leipzig, they can definitely win this game of football. Looking at Sporting, they come off that 2-1 loss to Club Brugge on the road. They do sit 17th. They've lost the last 2 Champions League games in a row. However, unbeaten in the last 7 games in domestic form as well. They've turned it around in recent weeks after a rough patch after Ruben Amorim left the club. For me, pretty simple. Victor Gyökeres is in fantastic form, continues to be that absolute monster in front of goal. He could single-handedly win this game for Sporting. Look to him to be the difference maker. He could, put his name back on the scene once again with another massive performance here versus Leipzig, who are a team that are playing for pride. Sporting are playing for places. So Sporting should come out the stronger of the 2 sides. They should compete really hard for minute 1, and that's why I see them win this game 2-1. They've got the talent. They've got the big man up top. I think that's why they let this win versus Leipzig. The next game is Shakhtar Donetsk and Brest. Shakhtar went down 5-1 last time at home versus Bayern Munich. They sit in 27th, have not kept a clean sheet in their last 5 games. A side that's very vulnerable at this current point in time, a side that's very gettable at this current point in time. I look at Matvienko and Bondar at centre-half. They're going to be pivotal. They're going to have to grind out this result versus Brest. I don't see them being the team on the front foot or the team making things happen. I think they'll allow Brest to try and have possession and try and make things and be the aggressor in this game here and potentially try and get at Brest on the counter-attack. Look to that to be the little battle in this game here. Looking at Brest, they picked up a massive victory, 1-0 at home versus PSV. They've now won 3 games in a row. They sit 7th in the Champions League with only 1 loss this season. It's been a fantastic story. And if they can qualify in those top 8 spots, it'll be one of the best stories to come out of the Champions League this season. For me, it's the area, the middle of the park is for me where it's going to happen. Kamara, Dumbia in that centre area, their ability to create chance for themselves and for others and be that clinical edge, whether it be late runs into the box or long shot opportunities, just to break down this Shakhtar style. We know they're going to be quite robust and quite stubborn defensively, so look to these midfield players to be the overloads, to be the chance creator, or potentially be the finishers of these chances. With that being said, I've got Brest winning it yet again. I've got them nicking it a tight one. 2-1 here over Shakhtar Donetsk. Another big win for them. That'll almost secure them qualification into the next round. Our next game sees Milan take on Girona at the San Siro. Milan beat Red Star 2-1 last time out. Far from great result, but a solid result nonetheless. And under new manager Conte Sao, they've been, more orientated to go and play more attacking football. So to them be on the front foot in this game here. However, they've not kept a clean sheet in their last 6 games. They've not been that overly clinical going forward, but they're committed to throwing numbers forward. They sit 12th in the Champions League so far. They've won the last 4 Champions League games in a row, so they're in good form in terms of their performances in Europe. And I feel like it'll be built once again on Tijani Reinders as well as Rafa Leao. Those 2 have been the live wires I guess, a litmus test for this side here. Rangers in Champions League football, fantastic this season. Probably one of the players of the group phases. He's been fantastic. Big goals, big assists, massive performances. And Rafa Leao, wherever he stands, whenever he gets on the ball, looks dangerous, is driving at defenders, making things happen. That's when AC Milan win games of football. That's when they look at their best. So look at Rafa Leao alongside Tijani Reinders to be the key players for me in this one here. Girona, a 1-0 loss to Liverpool last time out, hosting the massive club. That was a really impressive performance from Girona, but since then, they've really struggled. Only one Champions League win, but only 2 wins in the last 5 games in all competitions. For me, it's going to be that midfield. Can they match it with Milan's midfield? Ivan Martin, Oriol Romeo, can you compete? Can you make it a scrap in the middle of the park? Can you offset this Milan midfield who are competitive but can be put off with a bit of physicality and a bit of grunt in that middle of the park there? Ivan Martin, Oriol Romeo, when you're on the ball, be smart with it, make the right read, keep possession for your side, but also break the game up and get Milan out of possession as quick as possible. With that being said, I do back Milan in here. Girona looking very weak at this current point in time. Got a Milan 3-0 win at home to continue their great run in the Champions League. Move to London for our next game as Arsenal take on Dinamo Zagreb. Arsenal, fantastic result, 3-0 win last time out versus Monaco. They sit third in the Champions League, only 1 draw and a loss so far. They've only had 1 win, however, in the last 5 games in all domestic competitions, so they need to find a little bit more consistency. And against a weaker side like Dinamo Zagreb, I'm looking to the frontline players, Kai Havertz, Leandro Trossard, as well alongside Gabriel Martinelli in the front line there. They've been inconsistent players, they've been out of form. This is a great opportunity to get back involved, find some goals. And for Arsenal, you desperately need goals because in recent games, they just haven't been clinical enough in the final third. Even Martin Odegaard, be a bit more clinical, take your chances. And they'll go a long way for Arsenal winning this game and finding their feet once again in the league as well. Looking at Zagreb, a 0-0 draw last time out versus Celtic. They've been competitive. They're sitting 24th place, but they've only had 1 win in their last 5 games. For me, it's the back 4. Got to be compact, got to be tight. Keep Arsenal passing the ball sideways and backwards. When teams force Arsenal to be sideways, to be slow, that's when they can actually win games, get Arsenal on the counter-attack because they eventually have to throw numbers forward. They commit too many numbers. You get them at the break. Look what Aston Villa did last time out, and that's how you win a game versus Arsenal. So massive job for that back 4 of Zagreb to keep nice and tight and to keep Arsenal at arm's length. With that being said, do I see Zagreb winning? Absolutely not. I think Arsenal continuing their great form in Europe in this game here. They win it 3-1. It's going to be a scrappy old game, not one for the football purists, but in the end, Arsenal getting over the line for me. Celtic play Young Boys in the next game here. Celtic obviously coming off the back of that 0-0 draw versus Dinamo Zagreb. They do sit in 21st place, but they are unbeaten in their last 5 games. And against their Young Boys side, it's a great chance to flex their muscles and push their way up the Champions League table. Furuhashi, Maeda, Kuhn, all these sort of attacking players, look to those players to be the keys here. They'll be the driving force. They'll be the players on the front foot and look to them to be heavily involved in all the things that are happening here. I think Celtic live on the front foot. They live in their final third. They've got to be clinical and take their chances because this could be 4, 5, 6 or even 7 in this one here. Looking at Young Boys, 5-1 loss last time at the Stuttgart. They are rock bottom in the Champions League. He picked up 3 wins in the last 8 games across all competitions. For me, I can't see them having much of a chance. Potentially maybe sitting in deep and hitting long balls to Itten on the break and maybe he scores first and Young Boys can sit in and defend a lead. I just can't see them laying a glove on Celtic at this current point in time. I've got a Celtic 5-0 win here for me. Young Boys not good enough. Celtic just way too good going forward. Move to the Netherlands as Feyenoord take on Bayern Munich. A massive game for both these clubs here. Feyenoord a 4-2 win versus Sparta Prague last time out. They sit in 18th spot in the Champions League. So again, one of those teams that could drop out if they have 2 losses here. They want to get at least a point in this one and potentially 4 out of the next 2 or potentially 3 out of the next 2 games to make sure they're safe for the next round. They've not kept a clean sheet, however, in the last 10 games. Only 2 wins in their last 5 games. And not coming in with the greatest run of form or the greatest confidence in these players here. For me, the centre-back partnership of Trainer and Hanko will have to be touch tight. They'll have to close down spaces, be physical with Harry Kane because Harry Kane could single-handedly win this game of football. Jamal Musiala, Thomas Muller, all those central players have been so talented this season for Bayern Munich, have been probably their stars of the show. On top of that midfield of Leon Goretzka alongside Joshua Kimmich, is the centre of the park where Bayern do their best work. So Hanko alongside Traoré at the centre-half position, they have to be very, very big here for Feyenoord to get the result. For Bayern, 5-1 massive win versus Shakhtar last time out away from home. They sit 10th, 4 straight wins, 14 goals scored in those last 4 games. They are firing in all cylinders, especially going forward. And for me, Michael Olise has been that game changer. I've been massive Michael Olise for time now, but on the weekend, once again, massive in terms of that win. Set up a great assist to Harry Kane only 2 games ago. He's such a smart, creative player. He can make things happen against low blocks. He can make things happen on the break. He's got so many tools in his toolbox. I think once again, he'll be the star of the show. Look to him to be the difference maker. I've got Bayern win this one quite easily. 4-1 away from home as they consolidate that top 8 spot. This one is the big one. PSG and Man City face off at the Parc des Princes in our next game here. PSG last time out a 3-0 win versus Salzburg, getting them back on track. They currently, however, sit outside of those top 24 spots in 25th, but are on a run of great form here. 4 wins in a row coming for the side in French football. They need a big performance for me in this game from Vitinha and Fabian Ruiz in midfield. Man City's best players in the middle of the park. When Man City play their best football, they play one-touch football in the centre of the park. So Vitinha, Fabian Ruiz have to be massive in this game here. More probably defensively in terms of offsetting what Man City do in the middle of the park, but also be a danger going forward. Get the ball progressing forward as quickly as possible. We know how Man City struggle in transition, so these 2 players here can be the key. Get it, Man City, win the ball back and get at them, drive the ball forward, and get them on the break, because that's where Man City looked the most vulnerable. Looking at City, they were beaten and well beaten last time out, 2-0 by Juventus away from home. They have not lost, though, in their last 6 games. They do sit 22nd in the Champions League. They've not had a win in the last 3 Champions League games. So I want to get back on track in this one here. And for me, pretty simply put, it's down to Phil Foden. He's back in his sparkling best form, similar to what we saw from him last season. Goals and assists in his game, direct football. It's all happening at this current point in time. Him alongside Jeremy Doku. Well, boy, good luck stopping this side here. When those 2 are at their best, they're almost unstoppable, Man City. So if those 2 are playing well, Man City easily get the win here for me. But if PSG can do their best to shut Man City down in terms of those regions and progress and transition the ball quickly, it could be a chance of PSG to get a result in this one here. What I see happening, I've got a score draw, another entertaining game. I've got on with a 2-2 draw between these 2 clubs here. Both very talented, but both vulnerable in different ways. Real Madrid and Salzburg is our penultimate game here. Real come off the back of that 3-2 win versus Atalanta. They sit 20th, however, on the Champions League ladder and looking to improve, especially on the back of that 5-2 loss in the Supercopa versus Barcelona, which they have in recent games. They scored 16 goals in their last 5 games in all competitions. So goals are in the side's game. They just need to be a little bit better consistency in terms of the defensive output, and altogether it will come together really, really well. It's a big Champions League night, so as such, it has to be Vinny Jr. and Jude Bellingham for me as the key players for Real Madrid. These players, I feel like there's goals in their game tonight, with Bellingham and Vinny doing their best to drive at the back line, keeping Salzburg under pressure, and eventually this Salzburg back line will crack. They lost 3-0 at home versus PSG last time. They sit 32nd, not won once. They've only won once, in their last 5 games, and I just don't give them much of a chance here. They've got to hope that Real Madrid are their own creators of their own downfall with a red card or a mistake at the back, because I cannot see Salzburg breaking down Real Madrid, nor can I see them having the ability to stop Real Madrid. With that being said, I've got Real winning this one and winning it quite convincingly. Got a 4-1 win here at home for Real, and they push themselves up the Champions League table. That means our final game is Sparta Prague at Inter Milan. Sparta Prague, well beaten 4-2 on the road versus Feyenoord last time out. They sit in 28th spot, so not too far off that top 24 in the Champions League then. They've won 3 straight domestic games. They come in this game with a little bit of form here. But I can't see them doing much in terms of laying a glove on Inter Milan here. You look into that midfield area, Sadilek and Karanin, they're going to try and make the midfield area scrap versus this Inter Milan side. When Inter play well to the middle of the park, they often win games quite convincingly. So try and stop that flow in the midfield area. Look to Karanin, look to Sadilek to try and control that middle of the park there, make it a bit more of a scrap. Looking at Inter, a 1-0 loss, a tough loss at Leverkusen last time out. They have, however, been in good form in recent games. 3 wins in their last 5 games, sitting 6th in the Champions League. It's going pretty well for Inzaghi's men. And for me, pretty simply, once more, the front line for Inter Milan. Inzaghi's side, when Martinez alongside Thuram, when those two are scoring, that's when they play their best football. That's when they look ultra dangerous. So look to those two players to be heavily involved and both find the back of the net in this game here. I think Inter are in fantastic form. They're very good defensively. They've got goals in their game. So I see an easy 3-0 win here versus Sparta Prague on the road. With that being said, ladies and gents, that brings my Champions League prediction video to an end here for match day 7. Sorry it's a little bit late, a lot going on, but I hope you guys enjoyed it at home. Let me know in the comment section down below, what is your biggest game from this match day? Who desperately needs a win? Who's the key players? Let me know that in the comment section down below, because I love the interaction we have here on the channel, guys, with these prediction videos. With that being said, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, smash a like on it, subscribe to the Players Zone channel for more podcasts and videos like these, and press that post notification bell so you know we upload more videos and podcasts here on the channel. With that being said, I hope you have a great rest of your day. Enjoy tonight's Champions League action, and I'll see you guys in the video very, very soon. Till next time, guys. See you later.